I'm Brownfield anchor reporter Megan Grebner. With us today is Alex Zenteno, Bayer's Dicamba Product Manager. Today we're going to talk a little bit about XtendiMax herbicide and weed control in the upcoming growing season. How are you today?
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm doing good.
All right, let's start first and talk a little bit about what's new on the XtendiMax label for 2021.
Yes, I think it's an exciting season. We're entering the season with a 5-year registration of XtendiMax herbicide with paper grip technology. And I think that gives growers, certainty of what that label is going to look like for the next 5 seasons. But very important, right? It is a new label. It is a new registration. So those 3 key changes. The first one is with all applications of XtendiMax, you are required to include a volatility reduction adjuvant. That's to further reduce the potential for volatility. The second one would be that we have now national calendar cutoff dates. So for soybeans, that's June 30th. For cotton, that is July 30th. And then another really important one is the enhancement of buffers. So the downwind buffer is now 240 feet. But if you're in an area with listed endangered species, that would be 310 feet. I think overall, one really important thing to note is overall simplification of the label. The label is half the length. There's a really good check mark list at the beginning of the label to find all of these requirements in a quicker manner.
When we talk about this label, we know there's a new label. Can we talk about the training as well? What are some things that folks need to know heading into this growing season as well?
Yes, absolutely. So training is critical. It is mandatory. If you're an applicator, you have to go take it annually. And with this being a new label, it's going to be very important, right? Bayer, again, is offering free training. We have 3 ways that a user can get trained. 2 of them are online. The first one, we are offering online webinars. They're live every Wednesday, and they're led by Bayer weed scientists. So you can ask questions live, get your answers, hear from other growers. And then the second way you can do it is through a self-paced online module. It takes about 45 minutes. So you can take either of these online options and register online at roundupreadyextend.com/training. Again, that's roundupreadyextend.com/training. Or if you're not able to connect online, we are also offering in-person, very small events following COVID guidelines.
Why is it so important for us to make sure that we're following the label, making sure we're going through the training to keep this as a product that's available for growers to use?
Well, as you'll know, last season was a really tough season, right? We had the vacatur, the registration, and it put growers in a really difficult spot, right? Not knowing if they were going to have access to the product, but thankfully with the existing stocks, that was made possible. And I think growers have now come to enjoy, right, the weed control that XtendiMax offers with those tough to control Palmer amaranth, Marstail, ragweed. And I think it's going to be really important that we're all stewards of the technology. We've heard now recently of some new resistance, right? And it's very worrisome if you put too much pressure on products like XtendiMax, right? You're applying weeds that are too high. Maybe you're doing it not at the ideal timing. Maybe you're not including residuals, which are very important. All of these things are going to be key for us to have this technology as long as possible. We want to prevent that resistance. And then at the end of the day, we want to make sure we follow the label, because that is the law, right? EPA has set those rules for us so we can continue to enjoy our XtendiMax product and the weed control it offers.
Let's talk about the 2021 growing season. We're just around the corner. What are some things that growers need to think about when it comes to weed pressure and making sure they're controlling weeds early and giving crops the best opportunity they can to get off to a good start?
I think 2021 has, besides having the XtendiMax registration, another great development was the approval of XtendFlex soybeans, right? So we go into the season now with an additional tolerance to glufosinate with the Roundup Ready Xtend crop system. So I think that gives added flexibility to growers. Those that choose maybe to use dicamba earlier in the season now have the ability to come at that early post timing with glufosinate. It's also very important to not forget the basics. We talked about them. You want to make sure your residuals are with every pre-emergence or post-emergence application, right? So you have more than one mode of action. You also want to make sure that those weeds are 4 inches or smaller. Otherwise, you're putting a lot of pressure on controlling those weeds. And there's a lot that's new on the label. So I think just familiarizing yourself, we have some great tools on the website. If you go to roundupreadyextend.com/resources, you'll find great one-pagers that'll help you with XtendiMax, right? Whether that's comparing old label versus new label, summary of requirements. And if you're in a county with endangered species, we also have some great resources there.
Alex, it's great to see you. Anything else before we let you go today?
No, thank you so much for having me.
I'm Megan Grebner for Brownfield.